everyone, happy Sunday. Time for some positivity cards. I'm just going to shuffle them and see what the universe has for us today. So, oopsie, universe, what should we focus on today? What positivity should we focus on today? Right, we'll see what pops out. What should we focus on today, universe? Oh, here we go. Good things are going to happen. Well, we don't know what the future brings, do we? So you can either sit there and worry on the negative, oh, everything's going to be bad, or we could think of the positive. Good things are going to happen, you know. Waking up to a beautiful new day. Even if it's grey, look past that. Look at the universe. What a beautiful universe I've woken up into today. You know, try and focus on positive thinking instead of negative. It's quite strange how negative thoughts actually bring on negative situations, and it's strange. Even I've had to do it myself. I used to think negatively of myself and everything else in my life, but yeah, I was sort of like constantly around negative, so I had to make changes to make things positive in my life, to the fact where I had to remove people from my life, toxic influences, even changing my space where I lived. I was constantly getting triggered of memories. Every time I woke up, I was in the same four walls. I was living across the street from people that was abusing me. I had an ex-partner that lived 3 doors up that was abusing me. You know, so I had a constant surrounding by negative influences. So it was no wonder I could not focus on anything positive. They didn't want me to focus on anything positive because they would have, you know, when I started to see their true colours. They didn't like that, you know, so they wanted to keep me locked down, in a state of confusion, a state of self-blame, self-torture as well, you know, and it was only me that could get out of that, me who made that decision to move forward. It's only me that can do that, and I learnt to see who I was on the inside as a human being, and learned to see who everybody else was on the inside as a human being. That was my biggest step forward, so I could accept who I was and accept everybody else who they was, and make easier decisions to who I have in my life. You know, toxicness comes in all different levels. It depends on the person, depends what they've been through, depends on how their brain works, and you know, you can't change a top-notch narcissist. You can't. Their brain structure is completely different, to what ours is. You know, an empath's brain structure completely different. It's just the same as you can't change an empath into a narcissist. You know, you can try as much as you like, and you know, we can try as much as we like to, you know, be nasty to other people, and you know, not give a damn about anybody or anything. But when you're a true empath, that you can't do that. That is what an empath is about. It's about caring for others, even when you don't care about yourself. Unfortunately, when you don't care about yourself as an empath, you tend to take everything out on yourself, blame yourself for everything that goes wrong, not just in your own life, in everybody else's life and in the world. You know, you take on the weight of the world, and all its problems, and it's trying to rein yourself back in from that. Yeah, it's good to care, but don't let it hurt you in the process. Especially when it comes to toxic people. You need to save yourself, and it is taking that biggest step forward. It is the hardest, but once it starts going, you start taking those little steps, you know, good things start to happen. Definitely, with your own way of thinking, your life starts getting better. You start coping better on a daily basis. It's a struggle to start with. I've struggled, you have relapses, but again, it depends on who you let into your life and what's going on. I've had to stop watching news, stop going on social media just because of the negative aspects on it, because it is that I am that sensitive to the negativity. Um, and I need time to get back to myself. I think Dot, you're the same. You take on people's energies, and it's very draining, mentally and physically. It's it's quite weird if you don't know what's going on, just how drained you can get just by being around people or negative influences. It doesn't have to be negative people. I mean, you can pick up on good vibes as well, but even then, it could be very draining. Somebody's all upbeat and like people say that I am. I have a good energy, but then there's gonna be times where it wears other people out as well. Um, so you have to balance it out. Um, but yeah, it definitely starts with thinking on a good thing, on a good way, instead of thinking negatively about yourself. Just understanding your situation, you don't put the guilt on yourself. Um, you start to see people for who they are, and you start to see yourself for who you are. The negativity just slips away. It's just a natural progression of healing. These people know that they can't manipulate you anymore, so they stop trying. Um, it's good. You just have to keep your boundaries up, when they do try and come back and hoover you in. If they're not genuine, the same patterns will come back, straight away. And even if they do hide it for a little while, it's not for long. They can't keep that image up for very long, because their real self comes through in the end. But yeah, genuine people, everybody has problems. Everybody, they can come into your life and they can have a load of shit that comes with them, but that's their shit and they need to deal with it. But you can't force people to. They've got to do it in their own time, make their own realizations, learn their own lessons. And to be honest, they are quite easy lessons when you know what they are. And the easy lessons is stay away from toxic people. It bleeds off into yourself. I mean, a lot of people try to fit in these days, so they will act like a toxic person just so the toxic friends that they're with will accept them. But the thing is, toxic people will never accept people for who they are. All they want is to take. So, you'll never have a genuine friend with a toxic person. They always want something from you, something out of you. And screw your head up in the process. So, it's up to you whether you want to stay in that nasty cycle and pay the consequences of, mental instability. Or you can move forward. They're not giving you any sort of benefit in your life besides making you poorly. So, what's the point in having them around? Yeah, if you're an empath, you feel sorry for them, but there's only a certain amount that you can feel sorry for them until it starts hurting yourself, until you start giving until you've got nothing left to give, and then you take it out on yourself at the end of the day, thinking, oh my God, it's all my fault, because that's what they make you believe. When it's not, you've tried all your best to do these things, to make things work, to be the perfect partner or the perfect daughter, son, perfect work colleague, perfect employee. It's just, you do try as much as you possibly can, but you're never going to please these people, because then they're just not the type to be pleased. Because being pleased with something is like the end of something, the finish line, which they want more and more and more, whatever you've got to give, no matter what, even if it's your last breath, they want that last breath. because they think they're entitled to it, and they're not, you know, and we're well within our rights to step back and not have to feel guilty for doing that, for looking after ourselves, for protecting our own heads and our own hearts, you know, and giving it to people that deserve it. Because there are kind people out there, very much so. Unfortunately, a lot of them are being abused by in narcissistic relationships, so you don't get to see them. You know, they hide away from society, even though they try their best to help everyone. You know, when they're in a toxic cycle, you tend to get isolated by the toxic person. Isolation's a big thing, you know, because when you're away from what's right and what's true, you can get manipulated by lies very easily, because you've got nothing to relate it to. But yeah, when you start understanding what's positive and what's negative, you know, what negativity does to your brain and what positivity does to your brain, you can make better choices, very much so. And when you make better choices, good things start to happen. I mean, definitely for me, my life's completely done a 180, you know. It was, I can't explain how bad it was. It's my own mental health, and everything that goes with it. Like, you know, it messes with your head and it messes with your life. So many aspects when your head's up your ass that you can't do with life, and you try and get out of this hole and you can't. But when you start realising why you're in that hole, because there's always a reason, there's always something behind it that's causing all these problems in your life. Thinking negatively about yourself is one of them, but then you've got other people that's making you feel negative about yourself, that's doing it to you in the first place for you to start thinking like this, to start thinking negatively. And when you surround yourself with positive people, you know, people that can see who you actually are deep down inside. I know they're hard to believe, you know, when say, oh, you're lovely, you are, you know, and you've been told that you're a horrible person for most of your life. It's hard for you to believe. But this is where self-worth comes in. If you know that deep down you're a good person, you know, all your values are good, you know, you're kind to animals, you're kind to people, you know, you're good with nature, and you know, you're just kind and generous and whatever on a soul level. When you know that, you know that you're a good person. So for somebody to come and tell you that you're horrible for doing that, then there's nothing wrong with you. It's what's wrong with their thinking. It's what's wrong with their way of perceiving you. And what it normally is, it's their own toxicity that's coming through. They're telling you who they are, not who you are. Yeah, very much so. It's like I see the love in everybody. I see kindness in people. Deep down, you know, the things that they do for others. Even in toxic people, you know, they have their kind moments, or it's perceived as kindness, you know, and I know that they can do that, but it's all for the wrong reasons that they do it, unfortunately. But yeah, I can see who people are deep down, but that shows who I am deep down as well. You know, you see the love in everybody. It's because you're loving yourself. You know, you're a loving person, kind person yourself, and you only mirror yourself in other people. It's the same as toxic people. They only mirror themselves in other people. They'll tell other people how horrible and abusive and cheating and lying and stealing that the other person is, but it's actually their own traits coming out. If you listen very closely, toxic people will tell you exactly who they are. But yeah, thinking positive, it really does bring good things into your life. I am witness to that, very much so. My whole life, like I say, has done a 180 flip. From being rock bottom to soaring high now, in all aspects, you know, not just mentally, it's physically, it's spiritually, it's abundance in all aspects. It's very strange, but I'm getting used to it and I'm enjoying it, enjoying the journey very much so. Which yeah, I never thought I'd get this far. But yeah, thinking positively has been a major thing. So think positively, people. I've waffled enough now. I hope I've helped a little bit. Yeah, thank you everybody for all my subscribers, all your likes, shares, and comments, and sharing your experiences. I know how difficult it is to come out and share your experiences of trauma and things like that. So thank you so much. You know, you give me strength, and by doing so, you're giving other people strength as well. Showing them that they're not alone. You know, there are many people that go through the same thing, and that there is a way out. You know, you don't have to live with it. You are allowed to escape and move on and have a happy life. You don't have to live in the terror that you're in, or in the abusive, you know, situations that you're in. No matter how small. I know, you know, some people think you have to be battered, you know, you have to be black and blue to be abused. No, mental abuse is just as bad. Financial abuse is just as bad. You know, not being able to go out and see your friends, you know, being isolated is abuse. You know, being told what to do constantly, day in and out, it's abuse. Being guilt tripped into staying, or, you know, in a relationship, that's abuse. You know, being manipulated and blackmailed and devalued, you know, even just comments, oh, you look horrible today, or you stink, you know, things like that, little tiny things that get into your head over time. Yeah, you don't have to stay in that situation. It's not right, it's not healthy. It is very damaging over time, and the sooner you get out, the sooner you can heal. And you owe nothing to these sorts of people, nothing at all, because you've given everything that you possibly can in the first place. So don't ever feel guilty for walking away. It will do you the world of good, and you can do it. I know people are afraid of, you know, if they're in relationships, to be on their own. You've supported a person as well as yourself through this relationship, this toxic relationship. You've been the backbone to keep this relationship together, even though your toxic partner's been telling you that you've been doing this, that, and the other, you know, that you're worthless and everything. But no, in reality, you've been keeping it together. You've been doing everything you possibly could to save the relationship, spending whatever, doing all the jobs, doing this, that, and the other. You know, you know exactly what you've been doing through the relationship. All the hard work and all, you know, the times that you've tried to quiet down arguments and things like that. Keep the peace. Changed yourself to keep the peace. Changed your behaviour, changed your friends, changed the way you walk, you talk, you dress, you know. You've changed everything. You've adapted, you know, you can do it again, you can adapt to be on your own. You've got all the skills there to be on your own, you know, you've done it, basically, really, you've just had a big kid that you've been looking after at the same time, you know, and you just don't have that big kid anymore. Just look at all the fun that you can have, just look at all the freedom that you can have, you know, all that mental stability, all that choice, all that peace and calm. Just by being on your own, you can do whatever you want. Walk around the flat naked, you know, you go and meet whoever you want, do whatever you want, spend your money on whatever you want, you know, look however you want, you know, speak up and be heard. And don't feel guilty for wanting to do that. You deserve a life away from torture, away from abuse. And there's only you that can make those steps. That first one is the biggest, but it's the best step you'll ever make, believe me. And little ones after, little steps after, every single little day, you know. Be proud of your accomplishments, and just be proud to be free from all that toxicness. It really is, it just puts a mind to rest. All those thoughts, all that panic, when you know that you're safe, and you've got nothing there triggering it, setting it off every day, and your mind just adjusts to it, and yeah, you start thinking positively, then positive things start coming into your life. So right, I've waffled on for 20 minutes. It was only supposed to be a little 5 minute thing, but yeah, good things are going to happen. So I should say goodbye. Bye bye everyone.